following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to Gate City Chronicles. I'm Kevin Avard, your host, and today I have a very special guest, Cathy Poulin from Bob's Discount Furniture.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm totally excited to be here.
Right. Well, I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you're going to be sharing what you do with our audience. This is not a commercial.
No, we're not selling furniture.
No, we're not selling furniture or Bob-O-Matics or anything like that.
But if you need some.
Exactly, because it's going to a good cause.
Absolutely.
And Cathy, you do a lot with a lot of outreaching. And tell us a little bit about what the different parts of Bob's Corporation that people don't see.
Absolutely. This is my favorite part of my job. I know most people consider that I do 1,000 commercials a day, which I feel like sometimes I do, but there is a whole other side to the company. And I have to say, it started back in 1991, when that bearded guy that you see on TV, Mr. Bob, and that's a question I get, is that really him? It really, truly is. And he comes into work just like that. He has
and he wears the yellow shirt.
800 shirts just like that and 1,000 pairs of blue jeans. But basically, when he opened his first store in 1991 in Newington, Connecticut, without very little money in his pocket, he knew that he wanted to give back to the community. And so he opened a charitable foundation that very same year. And I can proudly say that now, almost $2 million goes out the door every year between his foundation and the department I head up, which is outreach. We intertwine a lot, but we're two separate entities. And both of our departments, or organizations, parts of the company, I should say, give in different ways. We try to give in as many ways as we can. He sits behind a desk more so, taking in requests, 150 a week at least.
Really?
From nonprofits, people in need. I mean, the need out there is huge. Our department does get requests, but we really try to structure our giving to sponsorships for things, doing random acts of kindness like I just did today.
Right?
I just did one.
You were here at the National Soup Kitchen?
I was in the New Hampshire Food Bank earlier this morning with the lovely Mel Gosselin, the executive director, and I have to say, I showed up. I did call ahead because she's a hard lady to catch, and I said I have something for you. And because we are familiar with seeing each other on a yearly basis, she knew that it was money, and was so excited to have me come and see her. And I have to tell you, the statistics that she threw to me today made me walk away in tears because the need for food is so great. And she was leaving for a press conference with the governor, actually. To say her plea. There is a need. I learned 1 in 9 people need to have food dependent on the food bank.
And how many of those are children?
Actually, the percentage, I believe, is about, she told me there was going to be about 40,000 children right now that will leave school because they're dependent on free lunches or a sliced price on their lunch plan. So they're coming out into the summertime probably looking for food.
Wow.
And the statistics she showed me on a graph even for the organizations in the food industry that used to give back 10 years ago. So if this was a bar graph and this was 10 years ago, it's down to about there.
Right.
And
I heard a commercial that there was recently a plea because the donations were down about 25% because of the economy, and so that really taxes their ability to give to people. And of course, if the economy is going down, then that means the demand is even higher.
Higher.
For food. So
yes, and
I'm sure she was happy to see you.
She was happy to see me, but I have to say that, you know, her business also relies on volunteers.
Right.
And one thing that I always like to have an opportunity to say whenever I'm out with people is, I know that not everybody has extra money to give, but sometimes it's just giving of yourself time-wise. And I work strongly with the Red Cross, and that's another, you know, a whole entity that they rely a lot on volunteer base.
Right.
And there's so many places, and New Hampshire is such a beautiful, lovely state, but, you know, think about places that you can, if you have extra time even, just to reach out and give. So that's what my department's about, reaching out, actually showing up and doing things, not just giving checks like I did today, but, I mean, I would have helped, you know, wrap food up or whatever, and if I had the time today, but things like that, I mean, are so important. So there's outreach, and then there's the foundation. I'm more out and about. The crazy van in your parking lot travels the 9 states that we're in. It looks like a Mod Squad van, I know, and I look like Betty Rubble on it, actually. I don't know why.
It looks like a hippie van.
Yeah, it's like,
flowers.
Trust me.
Peace, right?
Everybody comes up to my van, and I got to stock it more with candy because I'm out. But the premise behind the outreach department and the outreach van is, we're going to get out. We are going to be there. We're going to be at the walks, the talks, the schools. Being a former school teacher, seriously, my goal is to really target the schools.
And we were talking about that before we got on cameras. You've seen a lot of the kids come and go through your classes. You get a little attached and you get involved, and you basically take some of that home with you because you know they need help.
You do.
And your hands are tied.
Yes.
To some degree, they're tied.
It's a blessed position to be a teacher, and the only reason why I left teaching, to go back in time, and a lot of people ask, how did you meet Bob, or your husband? Because a lot of people think I am married to him, and I love him to death, but he's not my husband. But a long time ago when I was 10, because I'm only 20 now, I had a TV show in Connecticut. It was a soft sell advertising show, and I would go to different businesses and say, hey, I've got this great show, it's going to be fantastic, and you're going to do great, and I'm going to give you any amount of time you want, but you have to pay for, you know, whatever amount.
Right.
And Bob loved the idea. He's like, ooh, I can do a mini movie. So 5 minutes he would buy within each show, and boy, did we have a heck of a lot of fun, but I doubt we sold a thing. We just had a great time, and the show got a cult following, and I became a very good friend with him. I gave it all up. I said, this is draining me. I actually took the show from the cable company that I was with legally and went statewide, and found myself on the editing floor many a night and lost touch with who I was, my family, my friends. And in my 20s, there was something wrong with that. So my mom and dad pointed their finger at me and said, why didn't you be a teacher? You should have always been a teacher, because they were all educators, so you know, we should all be teachers. And I was like, you're right. Teaching is, once I got into it, it was my calling. So why did I leave? Because of Bob. Not because of the furniture, even though we have the greatest furniture with the greatest quality.
Was he starting right off? As soon as he started his business, he's giving into the thing?
He is a giver. He is a philanthropic wonder. And people say, well, you're the public relations person, so you're told to tell these things. No. I am telling you from my heart, I am blessed with what I do. Not only do I get to bop around on couches and, you know, play in, you know, in recliners and things with Bob, but I am out every day, and I'm serious, on the weekends, whenever it is needed, doing charitable work because he wants me to. I have my own budget separate. I show up with...
Go give.
Yeah, turkey. I mean, and it's not just holiday time. It's 365 days a year. I'm answering things constantly. In fact, people say, why do you do things on the weekends? And I'm like, well, you know what? I like to.
Right.
And I'm not saying every weekend. But
I seen you, we actually ran across paths at the Little Iguanas.
Absolutely.
And that was a great event. It was packed. It was.
We're all about the kids.
Right.
All about the kids. And, you know, that event, teaching children safety, I mean, I'm a mom now.
Nowadays you can't be too.
You can't. And even when I taught almost 12 years ago, I've been with Bob's, I believe, 13 years. I could be a little bit off, maybe a couple. It goes so fast. But what's happening out there, you know, unfortunately, there's a lot of, you know, bad things that are happening. And keeping your children safe is number one. And that cute little iguana does a great job.
I totally agree. I was just talking to a lacrosse coach the other day, and we were talking about how when we were kids, 11, 12, I was taking a bus trip to the beach, taking a bike ride up to New Boston with a friend of mine, and we thought nothing about it. But nowadays, it's so changed.
Yeah.
You have to really, there's an evil that seems to be attacking the children, and they need to be protected.
There is.
So hats off to Little Iguana for everything that they're doing.
Absolutely.
So I got a little question about Bob. What in his character, what brought him to that place when he started that business and thought, well, this is what I want to do? What is his history about?
About giving?
How did he become so in love with giving so
I think
early?
he was born that way.
Yeah.
I really do. I have to say. He is the type of person who is so grounded, and I love to use the phrase old soul, but he gets it. And he is prospered because not only of the business side, because people love coming into, the stores and shop and whatnot, but the greatest thing that can happen with a business is word of mouth. And if someone at a church even gets a gift card from us for a fundraiser,
Right.
that word of mouth goes pretty quick. And we're not tooting our own horn. It's other people saying, oh my goodness, did you know that they had a walking team for March of Dimes last week? And I saw Bob's over here at my kid's school giving money. And you know what? We do it to also rally with our competitors and rally with the other business folks. This is what everybody should be doing.
Right.
Really.
This little light of mine, let it shine.
Absolutely. What a greater, better place this world would be. I mean, really, seriously. Yeah. So. And
all right, so you're going around. You're involved with all these. Name some of the organizations that you help out.
Oh gosh, one of the top of the mind, because we just did an ad with this little boy, Campbell, and he's a Make-A-Wish child. We have a lot of national sponsors, quote unquote, because we're not just New England based anymore. We're spreading, and we're spreading pretty quick.
You're in 9 states.
9 states, all the way down into the D.C. area, from Maine down to Maryland and Virginia. And we just opened 2 more stores in New York, Brooklyn, and Bronx. We're 47 stores strong. People don't realize we are really, we're everywhere. And
given it shall be given you. Pressed down, shaken together.
Exactly.
It's a little verse.
Yeah.
Now you're also involved with education too.
Yes.
What type of schools do you give to?
Well, being a teacher, I sat with Bob because when he started asking me when I had just started my teaching career to come over to be a spokesperson, and I said, I just started teaching. I love this. I said, Bob, I love you too, but I can't give this up. And he said, well, we'll wait to film after you're done. And so after I taught, I would drive up weekly and shoot commercials with him. And every time I would come in, he would say, can you come full time? And I said, actually, I'm really I love, but shooting TV spots is just fun. It's just fun being with you and seeing you again. Yeah. And so he finally said, well, what will it take? And I said, nothing. And he said, how about if you create your own job? So I sat on it, and I sat on it for a good year. And then something, of course, happened in my school district where the multi-age program that I was teaching, we can't afford the $13,000 we're paying for the teacher aide for 45 kids. We're going to put up a brick wall and split the 2 classrooms and get rid of the program, and you can go teach first or second, whatever your choice. And that day, I was driving up to Bob's, and I said, this must be a sign. And I looked at Bob, and I had taken a teacher scroll, and I had written, I want an outreach van. I want to go out there. I want to give more. I want to do this, and I want to do this. And he said, oh, my gosh. And I said, I want to focus on the schools because there's such a need. There's such a need.
Now, you're out there giving, and he must, does he follow up and see what you're doing?
Oh,
not as a checking on you, but like, hey, how's this working?
Oh, my gosh. I see him every week. In fact, I'll see him tomorrow. We're shooting again. And
I'm interested in what these films are. Are they just commercials, or are they
commercials? TV,
okay.
Furniture. If you're selling
okay.
the furniture, if you need furniture, you got to come see us. And he always says, oh, because we have updates every week. Oh, we went here, and we have a bulletin board in every one of our stores now that actually shows pictures. Mm-hmm. Oh, we went into the we did a Make-A-Wish makeover for this little girl who wanted a Tinkerbell room. Do you believe it? I mean, kids some of them just want a good bedroom. Mm. I mean, we can grant wishes.
Right, right.
I mean, so you were asking, so Make-A-Wish, March of Dimes, Red Cross, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, you name it, from small to big, the requests come in, and it's catching on. That van is definitely catching some thunder. But the need is so great, and it shouldn't be so great.
Yeah.
And every state we open up into opens another whole
door. Do you ever have to say no?
We try not to.
Yeah.
Whatever we can do, if it's legitimate, because yes, there are people write me pages of my husband lost a job, and we have, a need for a couch. It's totally destroyed. And you look at it and go, I can't,
right.
There's so many, there's just no way. It has to be, a nonprofit, a 501c, a school, or,
It's got to be filtered so that it's not abused.
Exactly. Because, boy, we would love to be able to help everybody, but unfortunately, it just could never happen that way.
Right.
Everybody's got their own, needs and so forth. But so yes, I mean, even if it's just a gift card or, we love doing random acts of kindness because they're kind of like surprises.
Right.
Like I show up like the mystery van, like Ed McMahon, and I bang on the door to like a church and I say, I heard you needed turkeys, and I open up the back and there's hundreds. Nice. Or a school has written me a note saying we don't have any computers, and sometimes it's easier to go get checks, but sometimes it's nice to go shopping. So you open up the van and there's computers.
What a blast, though.
What a great job I have.
Yeah,
I'm so lucky.
It's like a full-time Santa Claus. Just
I know.
You are.
I am, and you would
giving and giving and giving and giving. That's.
So you would think that every day I come home feeling really happy, and I do for the most part. But I see a lot of things that I have to kind of go, okay. In the long run, though, what I just did was really good. But I go into safe homes. We have a system that every furniture store should do. And I'm giving you top secret information. We work with some organizations where they actually are helping moms and kids get away from a bad situation, putting them into a home, and they sit in this home and there's nothing. There's no pots, pans, or furniture. So what we do is we refurbish the furniture that maybe it got banged up on delivery to the point we couldn't put it in the pit. And we have people actually hired to fix it up, and we deliver it for free, just because it's the right thing to do.
Right.
I
remember a family
so good.
We helped out years ago. They were from the Congo, and you remember when they were going through that Rwanda thing?
Yes.
It was a large family, refugees. They came, and they came to America, and they were brought into our town, Franklin. They had nothing. They had nothing. And I happen to have some clients, the Audleys. Mr. and Mrs. Audley. They donated some furniture, and they thought I was a king.
Yeah.
They didn't have a pot, literally, a pot, and they got beds, they got furniture. And what a joy! But I was giving somebody else's stuff away. I didn't have much to give. But this family thought they were in heaven.
Absolutely.
They were on the run for about a year. They were eating off the roads, and people were feeding them rice. And finally, they got refugee status, and they were brought over. But they're still here in New Hampshire. But I get that sense of, oh my God, I really helped somebody.
Oh yeah.
And somebody else was kind enough to give them furniture.
Absolutely. And you know what? I am, as a mother, I think I mentioned to you earlier, my children are very young, and since they've been born, we're big advocates for the blood drives and rallying with the high school kids. That's a program, $100,000 scholarship to 2 states right now. It's going to be 4 soon, so $200,000 to kids who give blood to show our appreciation, scholarship money for college. So I end up going to these blood drives and going, yay, and things like that. I bring my kids, they shake hands, they say yay. When we're doing, collections for the homeless, or I get in your bedroom and get some clothes and toys, and they know exactly what that means, and they're excited to be part of it. These are things you need to instill young, or else they're not going to get it later on in life. It's going to take a while for them to.
Right, some people will shelter them, but actually getting your kids out there and being part of the solution is building their character in a way that you can't buy that. You can't educate a better way.
No, and so that when I go in to take Madison up, because my youngest is just entering kindergarten, I walk in and they go, "Where are you going today?" And I said, "Well, I give myself an allotment of like 5 trips a year, because she needs to be in school." And so I'm like, "Well, I'm taking her to the D.C. area. We have a big event going on where I'm bringing in a lot of schools that are in need, and we have a whole big event, and Madison's going to present the checks, and she's going to hear how the schools are, and then actually go tour the schools, which have bars on their windows, and it's just."
Boy.
And she comes out and she's like, "They didn't have a playground, and wow, am I lucky?"
Wow.
Like.
Do you have any events that are coming up that
I
you're going to
do. I'm going to be back next month
Okay.
because one of the programs through Outreach it's really ingenious. We have a very handsome statue of my TV husband, Bob, in every one of our cafes because we give away free goodies, too. Aren't we so, we just keep giving.
Oh, you give candy in the stores, I know that.
Yes,
Yep.
ice cream, gourmet coffee, yes.
Taffy. I've
Yeah.
been there.
You stuff your pockets for later. I shouldn't be saying that, but that's what happens. Anyways, so.
Guilty.
Yeah, me too. But every month I rotate which state we're working on. So 9 states we continue to cycle. Mm-hmm. It's New Hampshire month in July.
Oh, nice.
What happens is 7 schools get $1,000 just because. And trust me, when I make the phone calls to the principals, they're like, "We don't need any furniture, I'm all set, what's to come on?" A lot of them do that. Because whoever would just call and say, "I have $1,000 for you." You know whose money it is? The customers. They stuff bucks in Bob's head because they feel compelled while they're eating there to read the literature behind him that says, "This is going to go back to your schools," and it does.
Oh, nice.
So I show up and give the checks out, and
How do schools get on the list?
I knew you were going to ask. We have a master list. This program has been running almost 3 years strong. We talk to all of our stores and their employees, their families. We look at our demographics, where people come from, because obviously New Hampshire's, a huge state, and we do have stores in pretty much every nick and nook in the state. So we really probably have every school on our list, and we just go down the list. Now, schools have caught on to this. I urge you to contact me. Make sure you're on the list. We may have missed you.
It's all kinds of schools?
All kinds.
Okay.
All kinds. I can remember.
Public, private.
Private, parochial, magnet. I remember.
So how do they get picked?
Just through
is it random? Do you?
Oh, we just go down the list. We have a master list, New Hampshire list. Pull it out. Okay, we're on to this. We just actually picked the names, but I don't have it in front of me because it's back in my office. We just did it today, my assistant. She's like, "We've got New Hampshire picked." I'm like, "Fantastic." Also, another school
What's
thing.
the deadline to get on the list?
Anytime, because you know what else we do? We like to stir up the pot, because when I come up here with my co-partner in crime in the outreach department, we like to do random acts of kindness. As I mentioned, they're the fun things. So we take our random acts of kindness folder out and start reading through New Hampshire. Oh, look at this. We got a real good request. There's a therapeutic riding place. They help children in need,
Oh, we're going to have them on the show, I think.
Who? Which one?
I think that it's a...
There's so many.
there's one coming, I believe, from Bedford, or is it Goffstown?
Oh, I'll have to get the name.
Or Manchester.
But I'm using that as an example where we show up and bang on the door with a check, or maybe they wanted something, who knows, oats or something, and we'll go maybe shop. Just whatever we see fit. So I'm up next month, and then top secret. I think it's the 7th annual Celebrate the Arts Contest, another teacher thing. Easy as pie. You go onto our website and you fill out this simple questionnaire. Does your school have the arts? Yes, no. It takes 3 minutes, and I'm slow.
Is music part of it?
Yes.
Good.
And it gets randomly turned in a computer, and one school receives $5,000. You don't have to shop. You can shop if you want to, but you don't have to shop, and it is really nice for me to see the data collected, because so many schools don't even. We're losing PE. We're losing music. It's awful. So $5,000 is like $1 million to a school.
Right.
So yay, that kicks off in August, and $45,000 total will be going out the door for that. But always something. Always check our website. Check mybobs.com. /outreach and see what's going on.
And that's how they get their name on the ticker, if you will, on the
or
list.
you can just, I mean, seriously, contact me. My name is everywhere, Cathy Poulin. Email me.
So the website is mybob.com/outreach.
Yes, that's where you would go to find information about outreach.
Okay.
Or you can follow me on Twitter.
Right?
I have my own Twitter handle.
Is it mybobs_charity?
Yes, it is.
That's okay. I'll look at that. We'll follow you.
Oh, thank you, and I'll follow you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So this coming month is
New Hampshire month.
New Hampshire month. And if you're not on the list, you want to get on the list by contacting Cathy at mybobs.com.
And a nonprofit too. We have the foundation, which gives heavily, $1 million plus. I don't have as big of a budget, but we talk all the time. Bob mans the foundation. I man this, and we every week, you know, face to face or on the phone. Okay, we got this request for you. Maybe we can join hands and do something bigger.
Right.
So
does he make surprise visits? And hey, I'm Bob.
He used to. Right. One of the reasons why I was asked to come aboard was to be the female Bobette and to be out there. He is engaged in so many other areas in the company, and he's kind of, you know.
Well, 9 states, you've got to be busy.
Very busy,
right.
and more to come.
Right, wonderful.
Yes.
Well, Cathy, I appreciate you coming on Gate City Chronicles.
Thank you so much. I am truly honored.
Thank you for everything that you're doing. This is amazing, and it really is a bright light in a time where people really need it.
Yes.
You know, the government is always the answer. It's nice when businesses can reach out and give back to the community and help those who are struggling.
And thank you for helping me get the word out there.
Absolutely. Hey,
giving you the fake handshake.
That was a good handshake. Listen, thank you, folks, for watching Gate City Chronicles. And get on the list if you're a school or if you're a student even. Just get on the list, and maybe there can be some help, or maybe you can help and find ways to help out in the community. I know one thing about Nashua, New Hampshire. We help. There are all kinds of organizations. This is a wonderful city where you don't have to look far to find a helping hand. But if you want to get involved or if you want to get on the list, please contact Bob's Furniture. And until next week, thanks for watching Gate City Chronicles.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.